This is the Dover Download Podcast. My name is Christopher Parker, and for the past 25 years, I've had the pleasure of working with, learning from, and talking to a variety of volunteer, staff, and community members. This podcast explores conversations, activities, and a variety of policies and programs which exist here in Dover to improve the community in one way or another. There is a famous music lyric that says, "The children are our future, teach them well and let them lead the way." A great example of that here in Dover is our youth-to-youth programming and the enabling and the encouragement that that program does in getting kids involved in policies, particularly around drugs and alcohol. Today we're joined by Vicki Harris, who is our Prevention Services Unit Supervisor, to talk about that program. Hey, Vicki, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. It's been a while that we've known each other. It's cool to...
Yeah, I've been around and involved with the program for more years than I care to say.
You were in the program, right?
Yeah.
You're a great example of someone that went through it and then took ownership.
I graduated from Dover High, was in the program for 7 years in middle and high school myself, and then interned for the program when I went to UNH and was hired full-time to work for the police department doing their prevention activities when I graduated. So
we're referring to it as the program.
Yes.
What are we referring to?
So it's primarily Dover Youth to Youth, but the police department really has a comprehensive portfolio of prevention activities, including the Dover Coalition for Youth, the DARE program, sort of a whole spectrum of drug prevention activities. But I think Youth to Youth is the primary focus.
I would think that on the one hand, it appears to me that kids are much more educated today than they were when I was their age. But on the other hand, with the nebulous of what's happening, particularly with marijuana, that it's going to be tougher for you because you've got a more educated clientele. But at the same time, you've got this like push-pull of, hey, pot's okay.
Yeah, when we were in high school, it was alcohol.
I like you're including yourself with me there.
Yeah. It was alcohol, pot, marijuana, tobacco. Now we're dealing with vaping, fentanyl, fake pills, opioids. The things that our kids are exposed to today are completely different than when we were kids.
Yeah, so on the one hand, they're more sophisticated kids, but they're more sophisticated environments that they're living in.
Exactly.
What's a great summary of the program? What are kids, when they're getting involved with it, what are they involved with?
So it's really a youth empowerment program where we're working with the students to help them change their community and environment. So they'll learn about whatever problem they want to take on. So if they want to take on underage drinking or the opioid epidemic, they'll learn all about the problem, everything from their peers' use rates to the industry marketing to the consequences of using the substances. And as they learn about the problem, they start to develop ideas of how they think they can change their community for the better. So as adult advisors, we work with the students to help them develop the skills. So if they want to go to the State House and change a law, we make sure they understand the legislative process, that they understand how to testify, how to prepare that testimony. If they want to present to a group of elementary school students, they learn about how to develop a lesson plan, what their message is, the presentation skills. So we help them develop those skills and then work in the community to make the connections to let them take action, whether it be driving them to the State House or coordinating with the school principal to get a presentation scheduled. We drive the van and buy the pizza. You
call yourself an advisor, but you're really facilitating because the kids are doing the work.
Right.
They're making the decisions, as you said earlier, they're empowered.
They're really the leaders, and we're there to support and facilitate and help make things happen for them.
That must be incredibly rewarding for you.
It is. Having been in the program and had those experiences myself and the adult advisors, being able to give that back to these kids now is super rewarding.
Where does the funding for these types of programs come from? Is it taxpayer funded? Is it grant funded? Is it fall out of the sky funded?
It varies. Every year we're applying for different grants. Right now it's entirely grant funded. So we have federal, state, Wentworth Douglas Hospital is a huge supporter. We get community donations, but very little, if any, support comes directly from the Dover taxpayer.
In a little bit, we're going to hear from some of the participants about a recent event and their perspective on the program. Ahead of that, though, are there things that you hope the kids take out of the program when you're developing and when you're thinking on your end of how to facilitate? Are there things that you're hoping that they take away?
So we're really looking at two impacts. The students that are involved, what are they getting out of it? Developing their advocacy skills, developing their confidence, their decision making. But then we're also looking at sort of that broader community impact. What are the messages they're sending to their parents, their peers, their friends that can influence their decision making?
Over time, we've seen drastic change in the media of not everyone smokes in movies anymore. And I think to a degree, drug use has both been downplayed, but also, as we were alluding to earlier with marijuana, it's been sort of played up.
Right.
Where do the youth in the community really see that exposure to drugs, alcohol these days? What's the medium that they're getting that?
So I'm obviously not a kid, so I'm not living in their shoes, but I hear a lot of it is social media nowadays. Okay. There's definitely some of those, pop culture media influences, some of the music they listen to or the TV shows. But I've heard that kids can buy fake pills and stuff right on social media. So what they're seeing on their phones and these social media platforms is having a huge influence. And it's hard because the algorithm, we're not seeing the same thing that they're seeing.
Right. That's another complexity that's out there is the artificial intelligence aspect of it, of knowing that what's right for Vicky is not going to be what's right for an impressionable 10-year-old.
Right.
Are there any thoughts you want to make sure the listener hears before we move on to the kids and meet the kids?
I think really just emphasizing that this program was developed by the Dover Police Department over 30 years ago. The chief at the time went to Captain Dana Mitchell and said, hey, I want you to come up with something to address our substance use problem as a community. And Dana was sort of the brainchild of this. And it was really, Youth to Youth is one piece of that overall strategy. We still do the DARE program. We have an adult coalition. We have a teen center. We have school curriculum. There's not one program that's going to solve our community drug problem, but if we are all working together collectively, and if the youth have a seat at the table and a voice in things, we really feel like that's the key to success in making a difference. So I'll let the students really take it away. They're the best advocates and voice for the program. So thank you.
Thanks, Vicki, for that introduction. And now we're going to pivot to some actual participants in the rally and in Youth to Youth program in general. I'm joined by Megan, Iris, and Annabel. Ladies, how are you?
Good. We're good. Thank you. Thank you.
So recently you had a great event down at Henry Law. You want to walk me through what you guys did?
So we've been preparing for this event for a while. There's been weeks of preparation. So we held our rally to kick off our new campaign. It's A Dealer is Not a Doctor campaign.
Yeah, and we held a press conference, and Boston Globe and what was the news station called?
WMUR.
They both showed up, and it went really, really well. So we're really excited.
I actually spoke at the press conference, and I think it went really well. And basically what this whole thing's about is letting the message know that a dealer is not a doctor. So taking counterfeit pills or medication can be very dangerous because you don't know what's in it, and it could have some very lethal drugs in it, like fentanyl, which is a highly addicted opioid.
It blows my mind looking at the three of you to think that this is an issue for people your age. And it's really impressive that you've gotten involved to get the message out that it is a thing and that your friends and peers need to be aware to avoid, as you say, going to someone that's not a doctor to get prescriptions or to avoid getting prescriptions, really, right? I mean, that's why someone would do it, right? To not go through the right process because they must know that what they're trying to achieve is not a good thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's it like for you to have that opportunity to be part of the rally, be part of the event, to speak at a press conference?
Personally, for me, it's like a really good experience. I've really enjoyed it, and I think that it's really, really important to get this message out because it's something that people need to know to help themselves, their family, their friends, their peers to stay safe. And I think it's really important that you stay educated on it. And it's also just a really fun thing to do, in my opinion. And I've really enjoyed doing it because I've learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was just so nice to see how all the hard work paid off and it went so nicely.
Yeah. And especially like answering questions from the press, because Annabelle and I were there to answer questions too. It was great to see that we were able to convey our message in a way that they had really good questions that were important to ask and clarify.
Do you feel that they were respectful of you and that they understand that you are very committed to this? Or was it we got to ask a question, so we're going to ask a question?
Yeah, it's definitely, they were 100% super respectful.
They're very respectful.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
So they took you seriously?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great. What other things are involved with this campaign? You mentioned, Megan, that this is the kickoff of a campaign. What else is involved in the campaign?
So our group is really going to try and continue this momentum throughout the year. We usually launch a campaign during our week-long summer program. So last year we launched one about alcohol products. And so we've kept going all the way until this new campaign. And so none of our old campaigns have really died down or stopped yet. We keep them going for as long as we can. But this is going to continue up throughout the year with different projects like presentations and webinars. And we'd love to get as many different prevention groups in on this as possible.
I was one of the people that me and Megan actually presented a fentanyl lesson plan to the camp to get them to be familiar with the message, but we could take that presentation, do it for other people. Sometimes we go to conferences and we might bring it there to help educate them.
So how many people are participating in the summer camp?
40, including experienced members who are the youth team leaders.
And what's the age range that you...
For campers, it's mostly fifth graders going into sixth grade, but youth staff, it's anyone going into eighth grade all the way up to people who just graduated high school.
And then they can come back sometimes as adult staff.
So are you three hoping to continue as you evolve through the program to come back as leaders? Obviously, you're leaders. You're having press conferences. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just a camper this year, and they're actually my group leaders this year.
Nice.
Yeah, because we're the media team.
Yep.
And how long have you all three been involved with Youth to Youth?
This is my first main year doing it, but I know that they've definitely done it a while.
Yeah, I've been involved in it since fifth grade when Mitch, who was actually the founder, he's very involved with the program. He was my DARE officer. And so I had the chance to do things like Samantha Skunk and the Zombie Project before actually becoming a member. But I've been in it for, I think this will be my fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. This will be my fourth year, third year-ish.
Yep, Mitch, who is Dana Mitchell, who's the founder of the program. That's my grandfather. So I actually started a little bit early.
I was going to say, so you've had some long-term exposure.
Yeah, so, I think I started Santa's Castle, which is a big fundraiser that we do for the program. I think I started that really early. I was 9. So, this is my 4th year at camp.
So I still think of Dana as Captain Mitchell, because that's what he was when I started working in the city. What drives you to be involved with Youth to Youth? And obviously, you got some family pressure. But,
honestly, I like to believe that even if he wasn't my grandfather, I would still do it just because I just think it's so important to get these really important messages out to people so that they can make healthy choices for themselves.
Is it about making the right decision or making an informed decision?
Both.
Yeah, both. And for me, I'm all about activism and all those things. I've given speeches and done all sorts of different things surrounding these types of things. And I think that it's really important. And that's part of the reason that I feel so happy about doing this and good about doing this, because I think it's such an important message to give out.
And I think just one more thing, it's definitely important for youth to get involved in advocacy and things like that, because when you're talking to kids, adults kind of talk at them in a way that their peers don't. So they're probably more likely to listen to kids their own age that are telling them things are bad, they're not safe, than a bunch of adults warning them of consequences that are far in the future.
I'm going to ask a question that's going to seriously date me, but that's okay. I do that all the time on this podcast. There was a television show that I think went off the air in 2007, so probably before any of you were born, called The West Wing, and it was a fictionalized presidential...
I'm actually watching that with my family right now. My mom and dad stay up at night and watch that. So
there's an episode where some kids come in to advocate to the president that the the voting age should actually be abolished and that anyone should be able to vote because kids have the most at stake, and that folks your age are the ones that are going to live with the consequences of every choice made now. And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking back to that it's absolutely true that the world is being set up without forethought to the future because it's human nature to be selfish. It's human nature to think about what about me now. And you three are a great example of the cohort that really needs to be listened to because you're the ones that are going to have to survive all of the mess that's currently being made, regardless of which political party is in charge. So I really applaud your efforts. It sounds like a great bit of care and concern is being brought to the table by the three of you and the other members of the group. You should really give yourselves a lot of props for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As we wrap up, are there things that you want to highlight that are coming up? I know, Megan, you mentioned that there's a year-long program involved. Are there things that people could look for or know that are coming up?
Well, I know throughout the whole year we do a bunch of different stuff. There's after-school teams, there's night teams, and we get involved as much as we really can. But we don't have specific things, I don't think, planned for this campaign yet, but there definitely will be things, and we'll be continuing this, so just stay on the lookout for us.
I don't know if this is related, but it's kind of related because, there's the after-school day-to-day stuff, and then there's also we go on trips to, for example, me and Megan. In May, we went to Washington, D.C.
Like the one non-hot and steamy time to go to Washington, D.C.
Yeah. But we went for a Mobilize Against Tobacco Lies conference.
What does it feel like to go to a conference and to be engaged like that?
It feels really cool. I mean, it's nice that you get to be with a bunch of other groups that are also working towards the same goals as you. Then we took an airplane. It was fun.
Iris, if you're going to talk to a friend and encourage them to get involved with the program, what would you say to them?
I would tell them that because we actually had classes like this in school, like given to us by the DARE officers, and I think that I would tell them this is basically just more of that, like, except we get to get involved and get to make change and help, like, give rallies like what we did recently. And
definitely as you join the program too, I would say we don't really stray from the material that's brought up in DARE too much, but it becomes less and less like DARE the older you get less presentations, like you need to be educated a little bit less, and you definitely get involved in more of the activism part of it. I've gone to testify in the Capitol multiple times, the state Capitol. So it's just like you get a really wide variety of activities, more than just what the campers get to experience this week.
Yeah.
It sounds too that you not only are you learning how to make good decisions and healthy decisions for yourself, but you're learning how to be engaged and be active members of the community, which how can you go wrong?
Yeah.
I really appreciate you three joining me today and sitting in and educating me and the listener on the program. It's phenomenal what you're doing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on as well.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Dover has a wealth of history in its over 400 years of existence. Coming up, Mike Gillis is going to share some of that history with us.
This week, in 1997, Dover's efforts to locate a consolidated $3.3 million courthouse downtown seemed to be fading fast, despite numerous attempts. The state gave the city until September 7, 1997 to propose an acceptable downtown site, having rejected previous suggestions. Previously considered locations included a parking lot at Chestnut and 3rd Streets, a Portland Street site, and the former Fisher Mill building on Main Street. Some supporters, including then-Councilor Will Buck, argued that keeping the court downtown was vital for economic success. However, others favored a county site near the Superior Court for consolidation of services. By 1998, the former middle school, now the McConnell Center, was the city's preferred location for the court. Both the state and city appropriated funding to move the court to the school. However, by 2001, the former district court on St. Thomas Street was razed to make way for a new consolidated courthouse at the same site. The first wrinkle came before the new building was constructed. Durham, Lee, and Madbury fought for an exemption from a major consolidation, arguing their towns, along with the presence of 14,000 University of New Hampshire students, made it necessary to retain a court in Durham. The New Hampshire legislature granted the exemption. Somersworth and Rollinsford lobbied for similar exemptions, citing the convenience of the Somersworth District Court, but would lose that bid. After spending a few years in temporary quarters at the middle school, the McConnell Center, the new consolidated Dover District Court opened in 2002. In 2011, Dover District Court became Dover Circuit Court. The 2011 consolidation created the New Hampshire Circuit Court system, which combined the former district courts, probate courts, and family division courts into a single circuit court structure. Under the change, Durham, Lee, and Madbury were consolidated into the Dover Court. Today, the Dover Circuit Court, which still bears the chiseled inscription from its time as a district court, continues to operate on St. Thomas Street.
Thanks for listening to the Dover Download this week. If you like what you heard, subscribe through your favorite podcast aggregator. And if you have something you want to hear a topic on, let us know. Finally, this is just one of the many ways we share information about the city of Dover. You can subscribe to the Dover Download's email newsletter every week or other newsletters that we have by going to the City of Dover homepage, www.dover.nh.gov. Have a great week.